Happy Studio Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. I thought that maybe I would talk a little bit today about taking photographs. I'm in my dining room right now, and right in front of a big picture window where I take all of my pictures of my jewelry. Photography is really important, and you need to take good pictures to show off your art beads. So that's what I wanted to show you today. Kind of talk a little bit about how I do it. So I have this bench here in front of this window, and it's not a very big bench, but it does the trick because it's right next to this window, and I really like the nice bright daylight. Usually in the summertime I go right outside and take photos out there, but you know, when it's a little chillier out, I stay inside, and I find that this window is probably the best daylight that I get inside my house. And so what I usually use is this piece of slate. This is a nice matte finish, doesn't have a glare to it. And I just set this right on my bench, and I take my jewelry that I want to photograph. I picked this one because my original photos weren't very good, so additional photos will be helpful. So I just put it on the slate, and here I'm using my trusty Olympus. This is an Olympus SP350. It's an 8 megapixel camera. I don't know if that makes any difference, but the reason I like this camera so much is because the macro setting is amazing. This is not a fancy camera, and a lot of cameras have macro settings. I just think that this camera has a really good macro setting. I don't even know if it's like better than most. It's just, it does the trick for me. I like to get right up in there and take photos that are really close. So I just use the auto setting, and I make sure that it's on my macro setting, which I don't know if you can see that, but the macro setting is generally the tulip. Now I have a super macro setting, which is what I normally use. That's probably why my pictures, why my macro setting is better. I don't know that all cameras have that superpower. But anyway, that's what I click, and then I get right in there and take photos. So I'm going to take a couple here, and I'll show them below my video post. So I usually take a couple different angles, and then I get in there and take a nice close-up of like maybe at the focal, and then I usually do one from above. And then now I always try to put the piece on and try to photograph it on. I usually stand to do this, but for this purpose I'm just going to sit and do it kind of like this. So I want to show that the piece is on my arm, and that will show the shopper a scale of size. Which is always really important when you're trying to sell jewelry, which I do. So if I am feeling sassy, I will pull out my other fancy props like my rock or my beat up dictionary that's been in my family for ever. And I also have this other really nasty book. This is actually a medical advisor, which all kinds of medical jargon in it, but some of the pages are pretty. See the flowers? And then I have, you know, my piece of rusty metal. That's always a good prop. And so I keep all of this junk, props I mean, underneath this bench, and that's I just pull them out when I need them, so they're kind of right there and available. So let's see, did I forget anything? I don't generally use flash on any of my photos. The macro setting, I guess, doesn't really allow you to use flash. It's just, it turns it off automatically, so I don't worry about that. And well, I talked about props and talked about photoing the jewelry on, so that's always helpful. Well, anyway, if you have any questions, just leave a comment on this post and I'll do my best to answer any of them that you might have. And thanks so much for tuning in to Studio Saturdays. Have a good rest of your weekend.